When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
La STM vous souhaite la bienvenue à bord.
Doing his best to get you there on time. This is In Transit on the Elias Makos Show. CJAT 800.
All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Recent data from the SAAQ reveals a 25% spike in evening collisions after the fall time change, with pedestrians hit the hardest, pardon the pun. As Quebec considers scrapping daylight saving time, experts are calling for better lighting and safety measures to protect vulnerable road users. Let's go to Martin Lavallière, a professor of kinesiology at the Department of Health and Sciences at University of Quebec at Chicoutimi. Martin, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
So, I've heard this over the years, right? This is not the first time I've heard, when we change the clocks in the fall, it leads to more accidents. But it seems like the data here is mounting, and we've got some Quebec data on the matter. Tell us more.
Yeah, and that data, unfortunately, does not come as a surprise, is that the association with time change and increased collision have been studied numerously. Typically, it also coincides with the time of Halloween. So typically, we'll show that Halloween is also part of that increase in vulnerable road user, but without surprise, because there's more pedestrians on the street, more people traveling by cars, but it also times in the fact that it is associated with that time change for fall time. So, and unfortunately, and this is kind of a first for us, but that data from SAC clearly shows that there's that increase when we do change time. And what it tells us also is that when we go forward and we look for spring data, we also see that before and after that springtime change, there's a decrease in collision statistics. So it does shows us that it's not by chance that we're seeing that increase, that spike that occurs during the fall, but there's an impact of visibility and time change for vulnerable road users on the road.
Okay, but in light of the spring data as well, right? Does it come out to a wash? Like, if we have more accidents in the fall and less accidents when you change time in spring, is it like, okay, at the end of the day, we're even? How do you view that?
No, unfortunately, that reduction that we see in the spring, that doesn't make it safer for people. The important things, and Piéton Québec has mentioned it, and there's got to be a concern here for infrastructure that will benefit vulnerable road users. Here, most of the impacts that occur when we do change time is the fact that suddenly, like by an hour inside like a 24-hour period, you'll go out of work, you'll go out of school, whatever is your mode of transportation, and suddenly everything becomes pitch black. Everything is dark outside. We just lost that time of the day where we got lightened up by the sun, and it does just accelerate the fact that we do have in some areas poor visibility for cars that navigate, but that poor visibility does translate to an increased risk for vulnerable road users. And the data by the SAC shows it is that increase that we see for pedestrian, it's a 35 increase pedestrian that have been injured in those collisions. So clearly there's a trend here that we got to be taken care of. And it's important for us to remind also drivers that when that change time is going to occur, that they have to be more aware of their surrounding. And the pedestrians are not disappearing just because it's dark outside. So they got to be careful while driving their car.
Martin, let's say you were a lawyer. Let's say you were a lead prosecutor, in a case against changing the clocks, the exercise we do twice a year. Where would this study be in the arguments that you would have against the time change?
that transition, we could probably just meet in the middle. So we could just say, okay, instead of changing the time like twice a year, we could probably just meet up and say, okay, let's move on and decide that we're not going to change the time anymore, and people will have more time to accommodate to that change in time and when they get out of their office and so on. And there's no reason that we continue that old procedure, since we know that it does not only impact road safety, but there's also psychological impact in that change of time, accommodating to that new schedule for kids that they go at school, and even for us workers that go at work. And there's no more reason that we adjust so much. Multiple jurisdictions have quit that decision of adjusting for time. And so there's got to be a way that we can find the best solution for all, but more importantly, find a safer solution for all.
And I know that solution of, giving up the time change may be difficult. I know I've heard Quebec talk about this, Ontario, New York. There's some willingness, but it almost seems like that provinces and states want to make sure everyone else follows along before they make that type of commitment. If politically or whatever the reasons are, if for whatever reason changing that system and keeping it as is with the time change, if that sticks around, what do we do? What should be the measures that we do in order to reduce collisions at that time of year?
Yeah, even if we would keep aside that our change that we would do biannually, the challenge still remains is that most of these collisions occur in places where the lighting and the environment might not already be safe at all. And what the time change does is just that it exacerbate the impacts of road safety for all on our roads. So the challenge that will remain, even that we would keep or not that change time on the process, is that we got to be careful when we design roads and lighting and conditions so that we do prevent human errors. And in that case, it's a question of visibility, lighting, but we also have to keep educating people on the importance of when they drive, especially because a pedestrian has not seriously, not a pedestrian while they cross the street because there's poor lighting overall. And the challenge here comes with the fact that when you drive a vehicle, it's kinetic energy that will transfer to that vulnerable road users on the road. And this is what we have to keep in mind, is that the collisions on our road won't disappear magically just because we've fixed the hour change. However, is that we have to keep that in mind so we can remain safe on our roads and we keep it safe for everyone.
Martin, we have to leave it there. Merci beaucoup. Thanks for coming on.
Have a good day.
That's Martin Lavallière, a professor of kinesiology in the Department of Health Sciences at University of Quebec à Chicoutimi.